Welcome to the Morning Energy Show, where we explore the strategies and stories behind the brightest minds in the solar industry. Today, we're thrilled to have Jonathan Budd, founder and CEO of Powur. Under Jonathan's leadership, Powur has become one of the fastest growing residential solar companies in the country, revolutionizing the industry with its decentralized business model and unwavering commitment to sustainability. With over 33,000 systems installed and a growth rate of more than 8,000% in the last 3 years, Powur is setting the standard for the future of solar. Here's your host, Jake Hess, ready to dive into this inspiring conversation.
On with us today, we have Jonathan Budd. I am very excited to have you on here, Jonathan. There's a lot about you I don't know, but the things I do know, I'm excited for the industry to hear it. Thank you for coming on here.
Thanks for having me, Jake.
It's always nice when someone like you is willing to spend the time and come on and talk about your business and talk with us and give us some insights. One of my favorite things that for those that don't know, Jonathan basically runs Powur with a U, Powur. And Jonathan, you're the CEO over there, right?
Correct.
How many other jobs do you do over there?
Lately, you wear a few hats.
You wear a few hats. I know how that goes, but it's such a massive icon in this industry. A lot of people that get into solar obviously know who Powur is. And one of my favorite things about Powur is that you actually drive a lot of people to the industry itself that might not necessarily have been in it before, which I think is one of the harder things to do. Once you're in it, it's easy to look around, but pulling people in. One of the ways that I've seen you do this, your company culture, I believe, is one of the top in the industry. It's unmatched. I've seen all over these social media accounts and from people that love your platform and operate in it. I've seen them do philanthropic endeavors in different countries. To name a few, Joel, who's come to SolarCon a few times, and Jonathan Bernasso, Solar Lily. They've all gone to these places and they've worked in Mexico and done philanthropic work. You guys are constantly holding award ceremonies for your people and recognizing them. You have beautiful trainings. And it seems to me that you show up to a lot of these things yourself. How come you guys have invested so much into your culture, and what has that done for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think if you look at it like we're investing in culture, you don't really get the culture that we have. The culture that we have is an expression of who we are. And so it's easy to create because I don't view Powur as some business I wanted to start because I wanted to make a bunch of money and it's this transactional thing. And it's a complete expression of who I am. Right. I think, companies are that and they can be that, and we can deepen that expression. And so for me, I want every single thing I do to be expressing who I am, and my full potential in life. And so it's very natural to integrate the things that you're passionate about and the things you really care about and the things that mean a lot to you into what you do. And that tends to attract other people who care about those same things and are passionate about those same things. And I think, Powur spits out a lot of people who don't resonate, with our culture. It's a very heart-centered, very open, very loving, very connected, team-oriented, we're trying to be our best selves kind of group. And the people who want that love it. And they come in, and who doesn't want to be their best self every day, right? Well, some people, but they're not, typically, if they are here, we never know about them. They're just on the platform. They're just selling deals and getting paid, and they don't plug in anything. And we love everyone like that too. But there is a whole other opportunity to really actually plug into the culture and participate. And I think we get a different kind of juice from that.
I really love that answer, but here's why. I've gotten to experience some time with you that others haven't. I went into your office one time and you did seem genuinely connected. You wanted to hear me. You were looking me directly in the eyes, and I felt comfortable around you, and it was very welcoming and warming. And I'm not just saying that lightly on here because we're on a podcast. I genuinely mean if anybody gets the opportunity to go and meet Jonathan Budd, this is what you're going to get. So you bring this type of feeling to your business, to your culture, like you're saying. The
Yeah.
reason I love this question is I want to dive into other parts of it. You mentioned that this is something that you believe for yourself and how you run your life. I got to experience a little bit of you. Do you mind if I ask you some questions about you, about Mr.
Well,
Jonathan Budd before Power?
let's go for it.
All right. What is your philosophy in life? What are the things that you like to do? How do they show up for you on a day to day basis that necessarily isn't work?
Wow, that's a great question. Um, this is definitely something that changes frequently. I've been shocked at like, gosh, I thought I was this person, and then a couple of years goes by, and you wake up and you're like a new person. You're like, whoa, what happened? Where did my values change, and where did the things that I spend my time on change? And do I actually like those changes, or some of them do I feel like I like them less? And
Mm, yeah.
I don't know, man. There's so many like archetypes of like men out there who like will put on this bravado and act like they have everything figured out, and it's like this typical like approach to like, oh, I'm the man, and I've got it figured out, and I'm hard charging, and I drive it all day, and I work out all day, and I'm super disciplined, and I do all the things, and it's like, okay, look, I've done all those things too, I think a lot of us can be, that kind of man. I don't actually think it's super authentic. I think most men, myself included, are figuring out their way in the world, right? And we're trying to really figure out who are we really, and we're trying to get in touch with, parts of ourselves that we may not have access to, or we may have shut off, or we may have, who knows, right? We're just not even, we don't have access. And I'm just waking up every day and I'm trying to be a little bit better than I was yesterday. And I'm trying to be honest with my mistakes and honest with the ways that I failed in my relationships, in my business, in the decisions I make as a father, as a friend, as a man, in my mission in the world. And I'm asking, okay, what can I do better? How do I learn from this? How do I grow from this? And at the core, I just want to evolve, and I want to keep evolving, and I want to keep becoming the fullest potential that I can be. And I don't want anything to hold me back from that. And so that's kind of my philosophy. That's my approach, and I try to live
What's
with
your
a lot of
compass?
honesty.
What's your guiding light? What's your compass on that mindset? Because, like as you said in the beginning here, sometimes you don't know if you're doing the right thing, and you shift and you change. Where's your true north?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, in my early 20s, I'd say I have two. In my early 20s, I went through a major life transformation. It was really the death of one life and the start of a new one. And
Mm,
the life that I was in had no future. It was not a good life, and it didn't have a future, and it came to an end in a very dramatic way. Um, and I woke up and I realized I needed to do something completely different with my life if I wanted to have a life at all. And I sort of began this second act. And I was 20 years
interesting.
old at the time, and I got super into yoga. I got into meditation. I started reading all kinds of different books and opening my mind to different ideas. And I sort of formed a core belief and connection to a lot of Eastern teachings, meditation, Zen, a lot of like more traditional kind of enlightenment teachings, you are the one, like just really going into this. And it connected me to a part of myself where I like really cared about the truth. Like I wanted to know what the truth is. And so I still have that guiding light. It's like an anchor point where like I will put the truth, above a lot of things. Um, a call came in and messed with my old screen, but
Oh, is it Apple? Is it an Apple?
yeah, it's an Apple.
So I learned this on the top right. There's like two bars, a light one and a dark one on the
Yeah.
top right corner. If you click on that, you can sleep mode it.
Okay, I just put it in airplane mode too.
I've had that happen.
Yeah, that was weird. It like totally changed the thing.
But you were
Um,
talking about truth being your guiding light. That was your finding
and
out truth.
it's such a tricky thing because it's like, what the hell is the truth? But you know, actually being dedicated and focused on, wait, what is actually true right now? That that guides me. And I don't always get it right. I get it wrong a lot, but I shoot for it. And the second thing is my relationship with my wife. And
Oh, very nice.
I think that relationship is a mirror for human beings. And you really see yourself, in your closest relationships. And, the things that aren't working show up in that mirror. And so, there's been a lot of mistakes I've made over the years. And thankfully, I feel like enough humility that I don't like point the finger. I do, but like not long term. If my wife's giving me feedback or I'm getting feedback in my relationships that like something I'm doing isn't working, instead of blaming that, well, you did this and you could have did that and blah blah blah, and like, you know, I turn that around and I'm like, this is just a mirror. Relationships are mirrors. So if I'm looking into a mirror and this is what I'm seeing back, it's reflecting who I am and something about me. And if I don't
Wow.
like what I'm seeing, it's on me.
That is a big one to take on. That's a big I
That's
guess.
the hard shit, bro. I mean,
My goodness. Well, thank you for sharing all that. Let me ask you, of those things that you just described, finding the truth and holding that mirror up. When I did go to your office, I noticed that your team was very proud of the company um, mission statement that was being put onto the wall. These truths that you found and the way that you handle life and navigate through that and have this true north, this mirror reflecting back at you. Has any of that had an impact on what your mission statement is at Power and how you operate there?
um, I think that it's played a role in seeking power. Power for me, I was seeking a mission that fully captivated me. It fully brought every part of me online. It was aligned with my passion, it was aligned with my purpose, it was aligned with my abilities and skills and drive and financial goals. I wanted something that was like, hell yes, on every front. This is your dream girl. You know what I mean? And I think that seeking was motivated by the desire for the truth and the full potential of what I could be in this life. So that's the driving force, I think, behind Power's mission.
What with any career that you could have chosen, why did you decide to get into solar and do power?
I'm not sure I did decide. Um,
Okay.
I was seeking. I was an online. I was essentially an early online marketer, and I had built a successful business, and I had made a lot of money, and I didn't actually know what to do next. There was this part of me that was like, I mean, I could retire if I want, but I'm 26 years old. I don't want to retire. Um, I want to find something that I really love to do, and I didn't actually love online marketing. I could teach people how to do Facebook ads or social media or whatever all day long, but I wasn't that passionate about it. It was just a way that I made money, and so I went seeking power. I went to the Amazon rainforest and I had this experience, down in the Amazon rainforest. I did a ceremony with some shamans. Yes,
Very
that
cool.
kind of ceremony. And power came to me as a vision in that ceremony. And it was
Really?
very specific, like, you need to go back and start a a a type of solar company, and and that's what I did. I mean, it was like, this is what you're gonna do, so that's what I did.
Something bigger than me has just spoken, and I am going to listen. Um,
That's what happened.
Jonathan, that's, 2 things. That's incredible. I love to hear that. You went to the Amazon rainforest. There's gotta be something magical there because one of my favorite books in the whole planet is called Green Lights, by Matthew McConaughey, and he actually talks about going there, and he finds enlightenment, as well, and he came back and made big, massive life decisions off of that. I think it's so cool that you went to the rainforest and experienced that with a shaman, you said?
Yeah, I spent 7 days with a tribe called the Achuar. It's an indigenous, tribe, still lives deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. You spend an hour flying in one of those little beat up planes, and you land on this little dirt strip. There's nothing. There's just a dirt strip in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. You get off, you're on dirt, you're looking around, you're like, "Where the hell? Where am I?" And there's no buildings, there's no nothing. You're just hopping
Were you
off.
nervous at all?
I mean, I didn't wanna die, Like, it's but I was mostly excited.
That's that's really cool. Did you I and I'm sorry I'm staying on this. Did you go there with the intent of finding answers or is that something that just happened?
Sometimes I think you have to answer invitations. I was invited. I received a call from a friend who invited me, and something inside of me, my intuition said, "Go. Answer this call. Accept this invitation. Go." I dropped everything because I had 2 weeks to plan and took 12 days off, at that time, and flew down to the Amazon rainforest and did it on the whim because intuition said, "Go."
Wow. I hope that everyone listening learns from that. And if that opportunity comes up for you to take action on an invitation, that you take it.
It
Um,
will, there those invitations come.
it will come. That's so you I didn't even know you did marketing before Power. You did a lot of marketing.
Yeah, yep, ran a pretty substantial online marketing business. The earlier days of the internet, like '08 to 2013.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I did not know that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So you came back from the Amazon rainforest, you utilized some of your marketing talents and you created Power. Which brings me to another question. Power is often called the Uber of solar. Why is that?
I think, this is what the vision from the Amazon was really trying to that was coming through. I don't actually think it was mine. I think that power came from that rainforest. It was somehow connected to the rainforest, the spirit of the rainforest, the intelligence of the rainforest, and I think I just received it. And it was essentially saying two things. It was, go use your skills and talents to dedicate to solving climate change. Advance sustainable energy on planet Earth and do that in solar. And second, create an opportunity so that other people can earn their livelihoods and create their wealth through a vehicle that is purposeful, is also helping to solve a big challenge. It was like trying to tell me, we want everyone to be able to participate in this movement of sustainable energy, and we want there to be significant wealth creation and economic opportunity for them to do so. Like, plugging out of the matrix of all these industries that are harming, really, the planet, and plugging into an industry and a model that is, protecting and stewarding the sacred vitality of the planet and of our human species. And so that was really the energetics of the vision that came from the rainforest. And so then it was like, how do we do this? And there wasn't really a lot of like, I had to start thinking about, well, what is that kind of model? You know,
You just made it up creatively. That's just right there. You just decided, hey, I'm going to
it
start figuring
evolved.
out.
It evolved. The first model was more of a traditional kind of like, well, you know, I don't know anything about solar, and at the time it was 2012, going into 13, going into 14. That I was really in the earliest stages of figuring this out. And the only real option at that point to do a national model was to partner with Solar City, Sunrunner, Syngenta. There was three companies.
Right.
And so we went to all three and we said, hey, we have an idea to build a network model and we're going to generate leads for you guys. And, you fulfill the product and, we'll negotiate some compensation for the leads we bring. And I kind of use that to devise some type of network compensation model that would attract people to come and plug in and earn an income by talking to people about solar. And that was really the best that we could do at the time. There was nothing else even available, really. Not to me. That was about the best that we could do, to put together some kind of national model for how to do this.
Well, at that time, I mean, you're saying that's the best we could do, but at that time, conceptually, I don't even know if that type of thinking was around at that time. Like Uber was relatively new around then, wasn't it? Uber
Uh,
itself?
yeah, I think it had just come. It was just starting to maybe get some traction, and we didn't really associate ourselves with Uber at that time. It was like brand new. I think we
Right.
started to around 2015, 2016. We started incorporating more of the language of platforms and disrupt and decentralized. And we always had the vision. That's the other thing, is I knew from the start of this thing that the core of Power strategy was going to be based around technology. If you look at really the company's assets today, every dollar that we have spent outside of operations is on technology. So the company has invested over $40 million into its technology software assets, and it's a full stack, front end sales enablement and back end proprietary software platform. And that's really what we are, at our heart.
You consider yourself a SaaS company at heart,
Uh,
technology.
Technology. I mean, really, it's like the core of Power's assets are software assets, unquestionably.
Wow. That's good to know. It's a beautiful platform that you guys have created. I have a question about that platform. Why why is it that let's see. I've been told for this platform that you have to pay to be on it. For those representing you to be on this platform, what is the reasoning for charging a fee to be on Power's platform?
I would say two things. Number one, I think Power is its software, and then we are our business model, because the whole purpose of Power is to connect the ecosystem of sellers, installers, and customers and facilitate those transactions. And we've done that pretty darn well. There's no other company like ours that has built a platform, achieved our level of scale, done it 100% through decentralized networks, maintained, really positive customer reviews for the most part across the space. So um, I'm really proud of that. And the second part is our model. And so we kind of took more of like a Costco approach to the membership. So I think the easiest way to understand, why have a membership on Power's platform is that the membership today accounts for about $1,600 per sale. So if we didn't have a membership, we would increase our base price per watt, or whatever our net selling price is, by $1,600. So, in a way, anybody who's selling a lot of projects, it's super advantageous to just be on a membership, and you're going to save an extra $1,600 on every one of those projects. If you're
Sure.
not selling a lot of projects, you're kind of subsidizing everybody who is selling a lot of projects. And I think that's the way memberships work. And we really took the inspiration from Costco. But then the second piece was just like really thinking about the unit economics of solar. And companies in our industry have just ignored this. And the way that I view solar is that every part of the business needs to have a way to be funded. How are you funding the various, parts of this business, given that it's such a low margin business, and there's so much risk, in the various parts of the supply chain and all these things, you have to have a really tight strategy for how you fund things. And so there's no companies in our industry that have advanced technology because nobody's getting paid to do it. On the margins of a solar contractor, you can't do anything but contracting. And
Right.
that's kind of the way it is. And so because we create a revenue stream from software, we get to invest in software development, which really creates advantages in the marketplace, for how our power sellers can build their business, attract customers, attract teammates, grow various aspects of their revenue streams. It's a huge competitive advantage for us to have this platform. And ultimately, that's passed down to everybody who's on the platform. And that's funded by the SaaS costs.
Interesting. Yeah, it does. I mean, consequently, it would make the pricing less expensive for the consumer as well. Fully fulfilling that dream and ambition you found in the rainforest to help the planet just a little bit more, because the less expensive it is, the more affordable it is, the more likely you're able to do it at scale, right?
Absolutely. I think membership models are pretty proven at this point. I mean, you can subsidize the cost of wholesale goods by a member base. And that's why Sam's Club and Costco and Amazon Prime and all these things exist. And that's what we did.
That's a fair point. But that's not the only expense associated with this. Obviously, there's expenses for the solar project itself. This solar industry that I operate in, we're the same industry, but I feel like power is its own pillar of independence, fulfilling the same dream. We refer to things as a red line on our side of things. How does your cost of goods model work, and what makes it different than a red line?
I think cost of goods is just another way to build pricing. And there's different advantages. I'm clearly biased, because this is the
You have
model
to
that we
be.
came up with, and we're the
Yeah.
only one who has it. But I think when you really dive into COGS as a model, it's insanely flexible. So I think the benefit of a red line is that it's simple, right? Here's the one price, and anything I sell above it, I get to keep. But COGS is going to beat a red line almost every time. And the reason why is, we build the price of each project from the ground up, based on the equipment, the labor, and the adders. And those are all completely transparent. And the actual details of each project matter. When
Yeah,
you're
they do.
selling a 12 kW project, um, you know, with COGS, you're always going to see hyper competitive pricing on larger system sizes because any fixed cost scales down as system size scales up. So if there's something costs $1,000 on a 5 kW, that's a lot. That's 20 cents a watt, 25, whatever it is. On a
Yeah.
10 kW, it's 10 cents a watt. On a
Mhm.
20 kW, it's 5 cents a watt. So Power has this completely flexible pricing model that actually matches the configuration of each project. Smaller projects are less profitable. Larger projects are way more profitable, and they're way, and you can with Power's model, you can get way more competitive than if you just have a fixed red line. And then because we also do a rev share on that, and we allow our rev share to go to basically, zero. We'll allow somebody to sell a project with $500 margin, and we'll do a rev share with them on that $500 of margin. So when a power seller needs to get competitive, um, they are typically able to sell under whoever's red line they're competing against and still have some kind of commission. So I find that it's an ultra competitive pricing model. Of course, where the COGS is going to be weak is when you're trying to sell at $3 per watt margins,
I think
and
it's
you're getting
interesting
rev
that you're
share.
giving us the weak point right now. You gave us the pros. Usually everyone always gives us the pros. Yeah.
No, you want
Uh,
to sell a $3 per watt margin, and you're doing a 70/30 or an 80/20 split. You're going to effectively pay more than a red line. So, my theory though is that the days of information asymmetry, where companies are building business models around the customer not actually getting competitive quotes and understanding pricing, those days are, you might be able to do that now, but ultimately that's going away. And the pricing in this industry is going to be more commoditized, and people already see that.
mhm.
And the more competitive pricing models are going to win. And so, I'll tell people all day long, look, there's so many benefits to be on COGS, but where we'll be weaker than a red line is when you're trying to sell super high dollar, per watt margins and doing a rev share on it. And then we will also be weaker on really small system sizes, because that's just the way it works. Like, small system sizes are weaker, and red lines are blending all the large and small together and kind of giving you a base.
An average.
And COGS is not. COGS is building the price up on each one, and you get the advantages and disadvantages of the actual project you're selling.
That's fair. The benefits of spreading the cost of goods or the fixed expenses, excuse me, across all of Power's total volume, is that factored into the cost of good model as well? Basically, you guys have to buy solar panels and you do such a tremendous amount of volume. When that pricing goes down from the solar panel manufacturer from distribution, is that reflected in your cost of goods
Absolutely.
model?
COGS will literally look at what is the price of this equipment on Power's AVL today.
Oh wow. Okay.
That's what shows up, on the proposal. So that's why our pricing is often so low. Is you look at it and we're paying a lot less for equipment, and in general, nobody's saving. Labor is the cost of labor. Nobody has a labor advantage, and the bigger you get, the more money it costs. It is not like in solar where, like, oh, as I get really huge, my costs come down. The hell they do. That's why Sunrun is like
I
the
got
most.
proof they do not.
No, there is definitive proof that, like, the bigger you get in vertically integrated models and solar companies, the more money you are spending.
Hmm.
And costs really should be increasing to maintain the infrastructure costs of operating that model, because it's not the same when you're small. You can operate it much more lean.
I want to throw a curveball at you with this because it was a question I was going to originally ask. You said the cost is spread over the volume of the size. So if it's a 3 kilowatt versus a 12 kilowatt, your fixed expenses will go down, spread over the larger volume, right? But with that, don't you also get increased labor that has to be accounted for?
Nope, the labor price is essentially the same. For example, let's say Power's got, install, inspection, and all the various components of labor priced at 75 cents a watt. That's a per watt, so it's variable. So 75 cents a watt is going to be the same on a 5 kW as it is on a 10 kW. It's just going to pay 3,000, 750 on 5 kW, and it's going to pay 7,500 on 10.
Sure, I see. So you do list the labor in your cost of goods with the labor
Yes,
expense. Okay,
there's two components. There's either variable pricing, which is going to be tied directly to a per watt, or there's fixed pricing, which is like, we paid $300 for this site survey.
sure.
That fixed pricing is what makes larger to smaller system sizes come up or down on their actual cost. And when you take fixed pricing and spread it out on larger system sizes, it brings the overall cost of those sizes down substantially.
Right, but the fixed hourly rate for the installer up there, that doesn't change because there's more hours, and that will always remain to be that rate.
Mhm.
Gotcha. Thank you. That one needed to be answered for me on this show for some reason. Hopefully someone learned from that. All right. So how many active members? First of all, how do you describe an active member, and how many active members do you have on your platform?
For us, we describe them as paying users, and there's 4,500 today.
Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot of people. What is it? They're just paying.
Hmm.
They're just paying to be on. They're an active user.
That's how we describe active. Yeah.
When if they what's the month? Is it a monthly payment that they have to pay?
Hmm.
Okay. And how many months do they stay on an average? Or uh,
Not sure. I mean, yeah, I don't have those metrics handy.
okay. Well, let me change gears a little bit and ask you a tough question, because our industry talks. As you know, you've been privy to some of the communication that happens, and we have this idea that power is an MLM model. Do you see it the same? How would you describe power in that way?
Um, I mean, I think it's power is many things. I think you first have to start with what is an MLM. An
That's a
MLM
good place to start.
an MLM refers to a compensation plan that has more than two levels in a genealogy. So if you can earn on more than two levels, it is classified as multi-level. Anything two levels or less is classified as affiliate program. Every single company in this industry has a compensation plan.
Mhm.
Companies are not their compensation plan. So let's separate the two things, right? Because compensation plan does not equal company. And companies choose compensation plans based on their philosophies and what they're trying to motivate. So if you look at Power's compensation plan, like most solar companies in the space, heavily incentivizes people to acquire customers. You go out there and you sign a deal and you make some of the biggest personal sales commissions you can make in the industry, and you've got some of the lowest pricing you can find anywhere in this industry. That's the core. Why did we decide to build an additional component of our compensation plan, which is much smaller? It's a fraction of what gets paid in the sales portion. Is because we want to motivate team building. We want to motivate recruiting. We want to motivate a viral movement. Think about what I shared about the Amazon. How do we invite and bring as many people as possible from unplugging from the matrix of industries that are harmful for the world and people, and plug into business models and industries that are solving huge challenges and beneficial for the world and people? So we want to motivate that. So we built a six-level plan, because what a six-level plan incentivizes is leadership. You can earn a ton of money by building large teams and large groups of people. If we did a one level plan or a two level plan, that would incentivize recruiting small teams and small groups of people. And it would incentivize, hey, I'm going to recruit a small team and work really closely with them. But we want to recruit big teams. We want large numbers of people. We want, a mass army that's transitioning the world to clean energy solutions and sustainable energy. So it's actually the right vehicle for us to achieve that. And it's really that simple because of the behaviors that the compensation plan motivates. Is Power an MLM? What the hell? That's like saying, is Amazon an affiliate program? Like, Amazon has an affiliate program where they, pay you to
That's true.
recruit and refer people to Amazon, to be Amazon sellers, and
Yeah.
like, you can earn various rewards, incentives, and all these things. Is Amazon an affiliate program? No. They have an affiliate program. Power. You look at what Power actually is. What have we invested $40 million into? We are a sales enablement and project fulfillment platform for solar and energy storage products. That's what we are. We're a massive sales enablement, and fulfillment engine. We have built one of the only platforms in the world that has completely standardized, so many aspects of installing projects in 24 different states across, all kinds of amazing contractors who plug into our platform, receive jobs, and bang through these things. And we have gotten like the policies, the processes, like so much of this construction operations and how you do it, working with the best local contractors, we have gotten that down. I mean, we have we've been through so many learning curves and we've made
I'll bet.
so many mistakes and we've had to learn through so much trial and error and figuring this out because there was no roadmap for this. There was no one who came before and did this. But at the heart of this mission, it's always been about how do we empower a network and really invest in the technology and build decentralized. Because my core thesis on this space is that decentralized is actually going to win in the long run. That this industry has had so much centralized vertical integration. And if you look at the history of vertical integration in solar, train wreck. And
Yeah.
at best, companies can achieve a really high priced product and keep the lights on. I am extremely skeptical of vertically integrated companies that have low prices because I am damn well aware of the additional cost required to maintain massive vertically integrated operations. And it's why you see Sunrun and many of these other companies really increase their prices to cover the cost of these operations. Decentralized does not have that. Decentralized is literally nodes on a network. And we don't have all that vertical infrastructure and vertical integration of our peers. Our partners, our business partners, who are often the best local solar contractors in every market. And we have spent years curating who these contractors are, and they are the best. They're like amazing contractors. Those partners operate their businesses, maintain their cash flows, do it locally, and achieve a more efficient, scale. And they give us a price for what's it cost to do that. So our pricing is kind of baked into this localized level. Certainly on the labor side of the business, and then we get the benefit of the equipment, the scale on equipment. And Power's internal operations is extremely lean. It's basically all payroll. There's none of the vertical infrastructure. We don't have trucks. We don't have insurance. We don't have, thousands of people on payroll every 2 weeks. It's basically just, project operations, finance, customer service, sales support, technology. So I'm getting very into the weeds, Jake, but
You're not actually. You're bringing up several points I'd love to discuss with you. I have some questions actually outlining some of those. So you're doing this perfectly. I appreciate that. I have a question about what you just said, though. The decentralized aspect of your app or your platform, you rely on these vertically integrated businesses, though, right?
local ones, correct. But there's a big difference between I'm a local regional contractor and I'm a vertically integrated national installer.
Sure. That is, I've seen the differences in those. Yes. So you
Big
use
difference.
local ones. You don't use the big ones. Originally, you went to Sunrun. You said you learned mistakes. There was three you could go to. There was Sunrun, there was Solar City, and what was the other? It was
Longevity.
Sungevity. And is that where you learned your lesson not to go to the big guys?
We worked with all three. Um, and I did see the implosion of Solar City from within. We were there at the time that the Tesla acquisition occurred, and it was pretty obvious that things had gone south at Solar City. They were they were burning money like a bonfire. And the internal operations, I mean, look, I've had some arguments with some past people there who claim things were much better than they were. They weren't. It was taking us 10 months, 11 months, 12 months to get projects installed. It was
I-
unbelievable.
So you work with the local ones. I think it's incredible. You built a platform that helps the sales side and essentially it helps those local companies that fulfill your projects because you're giving them increased work, which like we talked about earlier, will thin out their fixed expenses as well, right? And I have had some friends that have worked with you, and they say some great things. They love the negotiation process when you onboard them. From what I understand, you or from what he told me, you guys listen to what their needs and wants are, and you don't blanket every single business. You actually listen to them and see what they can do it at, and you customize almost. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think we've learned a lot about how to take care of partners. And early days, we took this hard line approach, like everyone. We're going to pay the lowest price. I'm going to drive you to the bottom. And the talent we got for that was not great. And we worked with some not great contractors, and we really changed our approach to more of like a, well, wait a minute, like, why are we trying to drive everybody to the bottom? Like, this is an ecosystem. Like, in order for all of us to be thriving, resources have to be allocated the right way, right? And there's a healthy number that allows a contractor to thrive. And so we recalibrated and we said, well, actually, let's create the number that equals thriving for these contractors. And then we went deeper into the MSAs and we figured out, where do you guys actually lose money in your business? Is it cancellations? Is it pulling crews off on day of install? Is it this? Is it that? And we built these really like tightly knit partnership agreements so that everyone's needs were being met, and we're listening, and like the resources are there and we're sharing it and we can thrive. Since we've done that, the stickiness of contractors on the platform, massive. We're going deep into these relationships, and that's really where you see the value. We want to scale our tight knit relationships. We want to grow with our best partners. We want to establish take these top regional contractors and just make them bigger and bigger and bigger and build businesses around each other, because my philosophy is that the what people really want is the local high quality contractor experience. There's an issue with the project, the owner can get on the freaking phone and figure it out. The owner can show up to the job site. You can feel the passion from the owners themselves, and you lose that as companies scale. I think people want that contracting experience. It's why we
Sure.
work with somebody, and you don't want this like
Yep.
faceless contractor overdoing it. Like, that's not great. And but yet we also need, as a sales community, we need the business model of nationals. We need the most competitive financing products. We need all the equipment. We need the lowest cost options. We need the technology and the marketing and the brand. And that's a lot of times where local contractors struggle. So Power's really uniting these things and saying, we're going to bring all the advantages of a national platform and national buying power, and we're going to marry it to the top quality local contracting talent. And that's our mission. That is our pathway to fulfillment mastery. And where I think the platform can go next, and this is something, again, we're always evolving. I think we can create tighter connection between our sales community and the local contractors. And a ton of the very top sales professionals at Power, they work really deeply with their local contractors. If they want to call the owner, they got their number. They get them on the phone. It's like there's already tight knit connections happening. And what we want to do next with the platform is like really lean into that and completely facilitate the
Oh,
communication and connection between our sales community and the contractors. And I think that's a big learning from us, is that us being in the middle sometimes is not creating efficiency. And
wow.
if we create that like seller to installer to power communication chain, I think we're going to tap into an even greater level of efficiency. So
I think so. I just keep hearing installers screaming through my head, like, "Don't let the sales reps talk to us."
no, that's not true. A lot of the installers have really tight relationships. It's crazy, man. I mean, there's many members on our platform where their business is like the bedrock of like an entire company. Like it's the foundation for
Yeah.
an installer in like Central California, and it's like they're so tight knit, like they can get on the phone when there's an issue and they do this and they do that. And it's like, it's
That's
really
fair.
the power of these local economies that the platform is enabling, facilitating. So I encourage it. And I think we're going to fully lean in even more to more deeper, tighter relationships between the sales community and all the contractors. And there's an efficiency to be found there.
I I love talking with you, Jonathan. You think big, and I like that change that you're trying to facilitate between the seller and the installer, and kind of pulling power out of being that third person to create the efficiency that you're talking about. That's really cool. I heard a quote, or I read a quote that said, "Millionaires build systems and processes, and billionaires build people." It sounds like you're in the business of building these other people, these other business owners, these sales reps, and it's no wonder why you have such a strong following and people that love to work with you. I have a question about your software on the sales side because you called it sales enablement.
Mhm.
What are the different facets of the sales enablement? I know that you have training. It sounds like you have transparency and visibility into the scope of each project.
Mhm.
Do you want to dive a little bit into that sales enablement side?
Absolutely. So I think about sales enablement, and it's really like the full spectrum of what does it take to build a sales team or as an individual seller and fully and frictionlessly complete the sale and my obligations in fulfilling that project. And everything's tied into that too around communication, payments, training, you name it. So, Power's platform has a ton of features. It's a very feature rich. We've been at it for 10 years. So it would take a long, long time to go through all the features that the platform has. But it's very easy to onboard to the platform. Certifications are tied to different functionality. So you can't actually submit a lead. You can't, do a roof job. You can't do various things unless you've actually passed the certifications required to unlock the different capabilities on the platform. Once somebody is fully certified, and again, this makes it so easy for people to grow sales teams because they're not thinking, oh, I got to train somebody on Illinois and the shines, SREX and, what's going on with net metering there and blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah.
platform actually does the heavy lifting of so much of this certification and training. And then you're kind of just like, okay, now I'm ready to sell. And, of course, all your, it's not like a super robust CRM, but it is a CRM in that you can enter leads, you can manage those leads, you can set follow ups, you can do all the various things you need to do. Once that's a qualified lead, you can, of course, request proposals. You can get all the various proposals for different types of products, loan, cash, TPO. You've got all these financing options at your fingertips. You've got sales support. So if you got an issue going on, we got real time live chat, hop on the line, talk with somebody, get your issue
Wow.
resolved, get this contract sent out, do this, do that. Your whole team can plug into that. If you're a dealer, your whole team can plug into that. So we're kind of like completely supporting all sales enablement, all sales support, all training, all proposals, all technology, all payments. Commissions are automatically calculated. Personal sales are paid daily. Tickets are sorted and logged. With all of your project managers, the various functions and departments that you need to talk to. And then we've had some real big recent innovations around how we fulfill these projects. Cogs Plus, can I have a minute to riff on this?
Please, yeah.
This is a big deal, so we've spent 5 years since we came out with the Cogs model, which was really a kind of the breakthrough model that allowed Power to attract and build, this multi-thousand person sales force, and have some of the most competitive pricing and products and value proposition in the solar industry. And we've learned a lot in that 5 years. And one of the things that we've learned is that, as the market has gotten more complicated, you've got, energy storage now, we're selling on almost 40 to 50% of every sale has a battery attached to it.
Amazing.
Now we're selling, half TPO, half cash and loan, all these various things. And with high capital costs, margins have been compressed. There's not as much wiggle room as there was in the past. And in general, we've just really looked at how do we continue to innovate a frictionless customer and pricing experience. And because we're a technology company at our core, and we've got a big data set of projects, right? We've installed over 33,000 projects.
Oh my goodness.
33,000.
That
This
is
is
a
not
little
a
bit of
small
project.
number. Like people are like, "Oh, Power's not a solar company." We've installed 33,000 solar systems. Like, we actually know a lot about installing solar systems. Um, so, we have a really robust data set, so we can look at what is the life cycle of all these projects, and how many times do costs increase at this stage or that stage or whatever. And we came up with an actuarial pricing model. And so the whole idea now is we're using data science, and we're basically we can kind of predict and know what cost changes are going to occur on these projects and what friction is going to be involved in these projects. And so we now give a price to our sales force and our customer right after that project is sold, right? We do a scope of work confirmation. We draft the layout, we look at production, we look at all the adders, and we say, here's your price. And that's actually your price.
Oh, it doesn't change after. Wait, did you say after site survey?
After
Before
scope of work confirmation. So
Okay,
when you get
gotcha. You
the
create the
scope
CAD.
of work, we say, hey, here's your price. This is what it's going to cost to build the project. We know there's going to be all kinds of fucking changes on these
Sure.
projects.
Yeah.
Since we have implemented this, Jake, 86% reduction in pricing change orders.
Oh my
86%
goodness.
reduction since we've implemented this.
I'm
So
curious, where do you guys so does your CAD designer, does your CAD drawer mark when an adder is recognized that wasn't recognized before? Like, where in that process have you created that?
so there is a scope of work team, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a design and engineering. Basically, take all the people who were working on design and permitting. They're now doing scope of work, right? So they
Okay.
are very. This is a skilled labor team that understands scope, electrical, all the various adders that are going to be on these projects, and they design that scope of work. Our pricing is set such that we are able to predict on average that there's going to be $2,200 of changes after that scope of work is approved in some various form, nature, way, shape, or form, whatever the hell it is,
Per project.
per project. That's an average, right? So some projects will have nothing and some projects will be $8,000.
Sure.
So and look, if you're a solar rep, you know this. Everyone has gotten those change orders. Whoops, we got to the job and now we need to trench to the street,
Yeah.
or
Electrical was done by the
electrical just
homeowner.
called out a new main panel or whatever it is.
Have to
That
trench through the
shit's all,
driveway.
it's baked into our pricing. So we are
That
not bringing,
$2,200 average is baked into your pricing.
it's baked in. We're
Okay.
not bringing any of those pricing friction moments to customers or sellers anymore. The only time we will do it, we have a very transparent concealed conditions policy, which is essentially something that we would have absolutely no way to know. Like, the utility arrives on site to do inspection and says, you need to upgrade the transformer. There's no way we could have known that. That's not our fault. Customers got to pay for that. So
Sure.
there's a small subset of concealed conditions. Anything outside of those concealed conditions, we pay for it.
I think for those that are listening and don't understand what that means, I think that that is probably one of the more revolutionary or probably necessary and needed things for a sales side. On the operational side, I think you're taking on a tremendous amount of risk. I like that you've done it enough times to find that your average is 2,200. But on the sales side, that means you don't have to put your tail between your legs and go back to your homeowner and say that the price has changed, and you can bank on the commission that's been promised to you. I
Yep.
think, like Jonathan is saying, some of the most complex things that you could run into is things you can't see. But the things that you can see are so that it's such a big number, and it's so unique to every market too.
Yeah.
It's it's just an incredible thing, I think, that you've taken that on. I mean, your scope of work, people, this department that you've created, they're even looking to see if a utility closet has been built around an electrical panel, or if that electrical panel is underneath the deck, or if the homeowner didn't use all the right breakers, the matching breakers to the matching electrical panel. All of those things, you guys are looking at probably hundreds of things in order to get that accurate. That is crazy. That's a lot of risk and liability.
And it's data science. So I mean, the key part is not there's no possible way we're gonna get all that stuff. The
Okay.
key is understanding how you price the jobs on the front end, because everyone's paying for that no matter what. Why do it and create all this friction because you didn't actually account for it? We're just accounting for all of it in advance and removing the friction from the process so that the process itself can be frictionless. And we're going to keep doing that. Like there's a whole other set of decisions we're looking at now where we're like, okay, what are the top 5 adders that sales reps are just always missing? And they're causing change orders or they're causing margin adjustments in scope of work. Can we go remove them? Can we just get rid of it? Right? Those are the kinds of decisions that having this capability on our platform now gives us the ability to do. But we're super focused on like sales enablement. And to me, you've got to make solar simpler and simpler and simpler, especially as the market gets more complex, to increase the amount of people that can succeed in this industry. We don't want this being just an industry where you got to basically be a freaking engineer to know how to sell these jobs. And so, we got to make it simple. And we're getting to the point where we need more advanced models to make it simpler and remove this friction so that it's just easy to go sell these projects and then not have all this friction after you do so.
Well, I mean, that aligns with what you called out earlier, that the industry is probably going to commoditized model, right? Like, where people can go and get it very easily. So it sounds like you're trending with that, or probably even helping create that. All right, I have another question for you. Our time's about up here, but with this meditation that you do, this mindset that you have, what is a book that has been very inspirational for you that you've learned that some of the people listening on here can go and pick up and learn from? What's one of your favorites?
Um, Gosh, I will. I'll just share a book that I'm reading right now because it's very current.
Okay.
It's called From the Core. And I'm sorry if you're a lady listening to this. This is kind of, I think it's a book more for men. It's about masculine leadership and how to really live from your core. And I'm into the book right now, and it's definitely got some medicine. So, From the Core by John Weinman. And yeah, if you're a guy,
I like that you say it has medicine. That's
it's
some
got
medicine for
medicine.
the soul. That's okay if ladies are listening. They have books as well that help women.
And
Men need help.
I actually love, if nobody's ever read The Untethered Soul or The Surrender Experiment by
I've heard
Michael.
about that one.
Oh, I can't remember. Michael Singer. Michael Singer. The Untethered Soul or Surrender Experiment are also two favorites.
If somebody wants to find out more about Power, who would they reach out to? Where do they go?
Um,
I know that you have different leaders that because you want to create this mass recruiting. I know you have different leaders. Do you recommend that if they have a specific personality type that they look somewhere else versus another?
I mean, that's a great question. Honestly, if you just go to power.com, even on the general page, and submit an inquiry, as a seller, you will get connected to a member of our senior leadership team, on the business development front. And you can have a conversation, and we can think through the right team support, for anybody who's looking for support in a team, in a home.
And what about contractors? Do you generally reach out to them, or is it they reach out to you, or does it go both ways?
We also have a page that is all for contractors on power.com. I think it's down on the bottom, called Contractors. Um, Obviously, more selective. Power has, really established relationships with our contractors in every major market right now. So I think it's good to go get on that list. When we're expanding or we're looking to grow, we'll look to our database and see who's on the list to go talk to first. Um, but we're not adding new partners in all of our main markets today. We've got really solid ones.
Well, that's great. I'm sure whoever is partnered with you is very happy about that.
Yes, they are, and
Probably why you have a good relationship.
that is, man. I mean, we've learned, you just, you take care of each other, and you build your businesses around each other, and that's what a community is all about.
Well, for the last question, I'm going to ask you a hard one to come right off the cuff. But you've been great with your answers so far. What advice would you give to somebody that would want to think as big as you, that wants to make an impact? It seems like you're not just focused necessarily on your business, but you're actually focused on the entirety of the planet and the well-being of those that your business touches. What advice would you give people that are hoping to dream that big and make that big of an impact?
Awesome question, Jake. I would first just say that we are in such an amazing industry. And, look, solar's gone through a lot over the last 18 months. We have really, our industry has been tested, truly tested. And that's okay, because we're in a process right now of refinement. We're really being refined as an industry. And there's also a curation process that is happening. We are curating the strongest business models, the strongest, installation models, the strongest financing companies, the strongest manufacturers and manufacturer products. And it is firmly my belief that this is all happening for us so that the foundation of the solar and energy storage industry has more integrity built into the foundation of the people and the companies and the models of this industry than ever before. And that's what's meant to scale. Us truly becoming a mainstream form of societal energy and energy storage, we need to have that kind of integrity. And we're going through that curation process right now so that our products are safer for consumers than ever before. And the contractors are safer for consumers. And the sales reps are safer for consumers. And that's my belief of why this is all happening for us. And so I think we are in a phenomenal time and place. It doesn't mean that it's been easy, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be super easy. But we're in a phenomenal time and place in our industry, and there's so much room for this industry to grow. And our products are some of the most important products in America. We literally can power a home from the sunshine and store energy in that battery and take that home off the utility and make it resilient and secure and energy independent and prosperous, and keep the wealth of energy inside the home of that consumer and spread it more to an industry like solar, right? Like, this product is freaking amazing. You can't find a better product. So it's really about investing in yourself, investing in your education, investing in your mindset, investing in your mission, getting so tapped into the true mission. People think that you get fulfilled by making money. Money is great recognition. Nobody's going to lie about that, right? It is deeply satisfying to be recognized that we are successful and we are making money. And that does fill some part of our needs, certainly as men and women. But it is not all of it. And what really fills the deepest need that we have as humans is legacy and its mission and its purpose. And we got the chance to combine both. And any human being in this industry that has not done that yet isn't willing to do the deeper work. If you're only focused on what yourself and like what you can get out of this, and you're not actually focused on what you have to give and the bigger mission behind our industry and behind these products and behind the work that we do, gosh, you're not seeing the full potential of what you can be in your life yet. So wake the hell up and integrate the mission and the financial success and what's in it for you do those two things, and we're going to go out there and we're going to build a phenomenal industry. We're going to change the world. We're going to change a lot of people's lives, and we're going to do it from a deep place of integrity. And I just think that's what we need right now, Jake.
Jonathan, that was one of the best, most genuine and inspiring answers I've heard doing this. Thank you for that. That was beautiful. Everybody, I'm super proud to have Jonathan Budd on here. He's been such a big light in the industry for so many people. I do hope that you go and check out Powur's platform. I know it's affected a lot of people close to me in their lives and helped them. Jonathan, you've built a beautiful business. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Jake, it's been an honor and a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.